Hello everyone, and welcome to my 9th Digimon Tamers retrospective video. This time we're going to be covering episode 9 of Digimon Tamers, Revert to Guilmon, Growmon Rebels. So this episode, for the synopsis, starts up with a continuation from episode 8. So Takato sees Growmon and he basically just starts tearing up out of absolute fear, and then he's kind of worried that Guilmon has changed into like this monster. However, Growmon basically still has the same puppy dog personality. Later, Takato tries to put Growmon away for the night, hoping that it'll just revert to normal overnight, but we find out that he's too big to fit in his usual hiding spot. We then get a cute training montage of the pair trying different things to try to deplete Growmon's energy, like doing laps of the park and doing certain exercises and going swimming, and Takato eventually joins in, so they do it together. It's kind of a cute little training montage sort of thing. It's kind of nice. Takato then finds Juri and he asks for advice, but Juri interprets this as Takato saying that he's got a childhood friend that has gone through a growth spurt and is just like a completely different person, or they've gone through puberty and they're just really tall now. So she thinks it's more of a childhood crush, childhood friend sort of thing. And it's not, it's a giant dinosaur, which is a little bit different. Anyway, so Takato then finds Lee and he asks for help, and they find a tunnel for Growmon to spend the night. During the night, however, Impmon does what Impmon does, and he chases Growmon out, and then in the morning this causes Takato to panic, understandably. The group then decide to paint Growmon in a camouflage colour. Ruki shows up and basically does what Ruki does and tells them that this is a bad idea, and then it starts raining, which causes the camouflage paint on Growmon to start to run away. Takato starts crying, which is as Takato does, and a rainbow appears from the rain, and then there's some digital world magic, and Growmon reverts to Guilmon because a rainbow happened. Oh, so I think anyway. There's something there. A rainbow appears and then Growmon's like, oh, okay, that's nice. Anyway, so thoughts on this episode. This was another one of the episodes that we've had quite a few of where I'm not that excited for. I'm kind of like, oh, it's that episode. But this episode actually turned out to be something I enjoyed a little bit. The episode shows us more of Takato still learning how to be a tamer. We get this really cute attempt at him getting Growmon to revert by slashing a card but backwards. So that's kind of cute, like he slashes a Digivolution card but he does it backwards to hope that reverts it, and that's kind of cute. And we get almost like a card slash animation and more than we've ever had for Takato, so that's kind of a cute little thing that is added there. And Takato in this episode shows that he's actually still different from the other Gogol kids. His response to most things going badly is to start crying, and he's actually got a fairly reasonable reaction to seeing giant monsters walking around, which is fear and horror, which is completely reasonable. All the Gogol kids are like, oh yeah, whatever, big dinosaurs, alright, let me punch things, especially Masaru. But we have Takato here, who is kind of sensitive and is a little bit freaked out by all this, which is understandable. Growmon is very, very large, and Guilmon is still also kind of threatening, but at least he's kind of like a puppy dog. Growmon, and I mentioned this before, it's that Guilmon kind of has an animalistic personality that he goes into whenever he gets into a fight. And Growmon is even scarier when he has that same animalistic personality. So that's kind of cool. And we also get more danger and risks that come with Digimon. And again, this is something that Digimon Tamers does better than the other seasons. All the other seasons don't really have that much of a risk or a danger behind things. Like, this episode shows that not only are Digimon dangerous and battles are life-threatening, but this episode also shows that they're not super convenient to have around, and Digimon Tamers does do that a bit. They're like, oh, we can't just sort of dress him up in a hoodie, and people will just think, oh, the lizard in a hoodie is just an ugly child, or something, I don't know. And it is kind of cute that they tried the camouflaged, however, I think that's like, it is kind of a silly idea. I get why they thought it would work, but it's still a giant lizard. Like, it's a giant, it's something you wouldn't expect to see. And it is kind of funny that the kids that we saw on the playground in the episode where he was missing just thought he was like part of the playground. Like, I feel like they should have left it like that. I don't think painting him in camouflage would make him, I feel like that would make him more obvious is what I'm saying. But anyway, it doesn't work. Well, maybe it does work because it leads to them crying. I don't know. Anyway, magic or something. However, I do like this episode, but it is kind of hurt by the fact that this whole, like, reverting is an issue thing, or reverting you need to deplete lots of energy, doesn't really come back. Like, this struggle of reverting to a child. Like, this is the second and I think the last time that's ever relevant again. The kids never struggle with reverting to child after this episode, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, it's always something that's kind of just does like the rest of the season. Like, they're like, oh, battle's over, time to revert. Like, that just sort of happens later on in the season. So this episode kind of introduces a concept, and then they just sort of give up on the concept. Like, they don't just like, oh, well, we've already gone through that concept twice, don't need to touch on it ever again, which feels kind of weird. However, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do use that concept again, but I don't remember it really coming back up in the later bits of the season. They just kind of like, oh, well, we don't struggle anymore, we're perfect. But I guess that's what learning is about. Maybe they just become better at taming. I don't know. Anyway, so in terms of my rating, I'm going to give this episode a 2.5. That doesn't mean it's a bad episode, it just means it's an episode. Like, I enjoyed it more than I expected to, but I feel like I liked it because I was expecting to not like it. And at the end of the day, it's sort of just like a middle ground episode, and I feel like I've given too many 3s, and this isn't as good as some of the things I've given 3s to. So it's a 2.5, but I do like this episode. It is cute. It's got a lot of cute bits that, especially like Juri thinking that Takado is talking about a childhood friend who he has a crush on and not just the giant lizard, which, to be fair, that seems like something you would think your friend is talking about if he's talking about a friend who is suddenly big and he doesn't know what's happening in their relationship. Like, yep, that sounds like a childhood friend who's gone through a growth spurt. Oh well. But anyway, so that's sort of my feelings on the 9th episode. Let me know what you thought about this episode, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!